One of the biggest mistakes in selling over the phone no one is talking about is not setting the stage properly at the beginning of the conversation. Setting the stage means defining some rules your interlocutor must agree to before diving deep into the sales call and understanding the potential client's needs. In addition, setting the stage allows you to prevent some important or frequent objections you can receive at the end of your sales call. Bear with me till the end of this video because I will make some examples you can adapt immediately in your sales calls. My name is Max Cecco and I teach aspiring entrepreneurs and professionals how to turn their knowledge and or someone else's expertise even into a seven-figure business. If you like my content, subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. To make the most out of the setting the stage step, I want to be sure you know some crucial aspects of a sales call. First of all, thanks to your ability to ask questions, you have to be in control of the sales call from the beginning of the conversation. Forget about your product or service and focus your attention on understanding your potential client's needs. Secondly, to avoid losing your precious time and money, I recommend setting up a specific indoctrination process to educate your potential client before having the sales call. For instance, I urge you to guide your potential client to follow a specific process to book a call with you or your sales representative. Based on the application form received, you will know in advance different information about your prospect. For instance, you can ask, what type of business do you run? How many team members do you employ? At what stage is your expert business on in USD? And other different questions to qualify your interlocutor. After collecting all this important data, we are ready for the call. You have to know that most prospects come onto the call thinking they're going to get more information about a program, a service or a product. But you perfectly know that this call is a one-call close. It means that you are on the phone call to sell something. Now, let's suppose that after 10 calls you have identified a recurring objection. Let me think about it. Since we are on the phone to sell something, we want to avoid the prospect telling us they have to think about it. In addition, we want to define the time needed for the call to have the proper attention from the potential client without interruptions. So, it's time to set the stage. Let me give you some examples. Kevin, this is how the call will go. First, I'm going to ask you some important questions to find out if or how I can help you. Then I will tell you about what we do. Does that sound fair? One important aspect I didn't mention before is the tonality. When you close over the phone without a camera, 85% is the tonality. 15% are the words you use, what you say. The tonality for this first question is up. So let me repeat the question again. Kevin, this is how the call will go. First, I'm going to ask you some important questions to find out if or how I can help you. Then I will tell you about what we do. Does that sound fair? Let's continue the phone call. Kevin, I want to make sure we are on the same page during our conversation today. This phone call requires between 30 and 45 minutes. Can I have your full attention for the next 45 minutes? Perfect. Now it's time to setting the stage to prevent the most recurring objection we received in the previous phone calls. So, Kevin, before we get into how our company can help you, can we make a simple agreement? And now you wait for the prospect's answer. And you continue. By the end of this conversation, by the end of this meeting, there are 3 things you can say to me. Number 1, you can say yes, which is good. That means we can help you and we can start working together. Number 2, you can say no. And I want you to know that it's perfectly fine to say no to me. If you don't think our product is a good fit for you, I prefer you to say no. The third thing you could say, but I don't want you to say, is I want to think about it. Because usually, when someone says I have to think about it, means no. So I prefer you to be direct with me and just tell me no. So, can we have this agreement before we continue this call? Great! You have just learned how to prevent some important objections at the beginning of the conversation and how to set up some rules to speed up the qualifying and closing process. And please do not underestimate the setting the stage step because it is crucial. Obviously, it is just the first step of the phone call, and as I explained at the beginning of this video, selling over the phone requires a specific process to be very effective. Indeed, you don't start selling during the phone call. When you speak to the prospect over the phone, you are helping them. You guide them to make their decision for themselves. You start selling when they fill out the first form to watch the video, so when they enter in your indoctrination process. And with that being said, if you want to know how this indoctrination process works, I urge you to watch this video. 3-step process to close high-ticket clients quickly and easily. Selling over the phone is not an art, but a process. If you don't set up the proper communication to filter the phone call, you are probably wasting your time and money. So, watch this video now.